For today's podcast, we were back to breaking down the last position of our rankings, focusing on running backs today. We'll be breaking down our ranks, giving our favorite targets, and as always, we'll have some bold takes. But before we dive in, there's been some running back news, starting with the Jaguars. Travis Etienne unfortunately goes down for the season with a Lisfranc injury. Where does this move James Robinson for you, and how much of a nuisance will Carlos Hyde be?
Not a nuisance.
At
Y'all
all.
are too hype.
No, we're not.
For an injury.
We're not hype.
For an injury.
We're not hype.
Respect Etienne.
Just me.
I respect him. I'm sorry.
Respect him.
I feel
I
bad.
wish he never would have got hurt. I think regardless, James Robinson would have proved that they should have never drafted a running back. The running back was literally their only strong point last year, and they went out and drafted one. Like, how disrespectful. So regardless, I think James Robinson would have showed out this year. But it is unfortunate that he got hurt, being Travis Etienne. But I just think that opens up all possibilities, just like last year for James Robinson when he finished RB7.
I mean, you say that he was the only part of the offense, which he was, but they also drafted a quarterback. So that could give some pros and cons to James Robinson. Will he finish that high again? I don't think he's going to be the workhorse that he was. He was on the field like every down. And Carlos Hyde, when Chris Carson was out last season, he was a solid running back. Matt, you know, because you had him last year, I think.
I had him a little bit for a period.
And he
of
gave
time.
him to me. He gave him to me.
So yeah, Carlos Hyde.
I gave him Tunyon.
So
For who?
He's going to be around.
I forget the full trade, but those two were in the trade.
Q, I'm agreeing with you there. I definitely think James Robinson obviously moves up. I moved him up to RB16, right in the heart of my RB2s, with definitely RB1 upside. But I'm not sure he gets the exact volume he did last year. Like Matt said, he was literally the only moving piece on this offense last year. DJ Chark was banged up. LaVisca was a rookie trying to get through his rookie kind of nerves. They had 3 different quarterbacks. The team was a nightmare last year. With Lawrence at the helm, Carlos Hyde is definitely a better backup than they had last year too. I think he does get involved a little bit. Obviously not too much. Still think it's going to be James Robinson's backfield. I'm not worried about that. But if Hyde vultures a touchdown here or there, I won't be shocked. So I think he's definitely a solid RB2 with RB1 upside, but I don't know if he finishes RB6 again.
I think he still finishes over Joe Mixon.
We'll get into Joe Mixon in a little bit. You already know. All right, let's move on to the next piece of running back news here. Sony Michel also got traded to the Rams this week, which throws a wrench into both of the backfields. Let's start with the Rams. How does this affect where you have Darrell Henderson, and does this hurt his upside at all?
It does. I moved him down to 28 from 22 or 23. Obviously, there's doubt that the Rams have doubt in him that he can't handle a starter's workload. So that's why they brought in Michel. I think that kind of just washes the whole Rams backfield. I don't really have interest in any of them.
I think that the only reason that they went out and got Sony was because the names behind Darrell Henderson, nobody has ever heard of.
Jake
They
Funk.
they just needed
Xavier
someone.
Jones.
They needed assurance just in case Darrell Henderson went down. The other day, Sean McVay came out and said Darrell Henderson's going to have a huge role in this offense, which I don't doubt. But, I mean, yeah, I think they just signed Sony for, like, insurance. Clearly he's going to take some receiving work, especially away from Henderson. But I don't see it decreasing his value too much.
I don't think he takes away receiving work personally. I think he's more of a vulture at the goal line because he's a bigger guy. But I do think Henderson still is the guy to own. I moved him down a little bit. I have him at 24, still a low-end RB2, high-end flex area. Still think Henderson's going to have some value in this offense. And like Matt mentioned, McVay did say he wants him more involved in this offense. He reaffirmed that today again, saying he's going to have a huge role. So he's still believes in Henderson. He's going to be ready by week 1. I still like him, but I think Sony does vulture a couple touchdowns here or there and get a few carries here or there for sure, compared to as I wasn't scared of Xavier Jones or Jake Funk. But does Sony have any standalone value himself?
No. Not even a little.
Nah, he's a handcuff. He's at a very touchdown dependent, like RB4 or 5. Definitely not super high on Sony.
And last year we saw they were like a carousel running. They had a different starter and different RB2 every week. So
yeah, he feels like he's going to fill in that Malcolm Brown role, and he'll have like a couple games where he scores a touchdown, and you're like, why wasn't that Henderson? but we shall see. But for the Patriots, how does this affect their backfield? Did you move up Damian Harris at all with Sony Michel not being there to burden any carries, or is Ramondre Stevenson preseason guy? Is he more of a sleeper now?
It's funny because I talked to Bart about this because I have Stevenson in a Dynasty League. I think that he already had some value because he was scoring many touchdowns in the first 2 games of the preseason, and now he moved up a spot in the depth chart. I don't know what's the chance of him beating Damian Harris out, but he's an interesting character.
Yeah. He's someone I'm just keeping my eye on. I'm definitely not like drafting Ramondre Stevenson in redraft. Obviously in Dynasty, he's a good person to have. He's super young. But I do think it kind of keeps Damian Harris where he was as well. I don't think it changes too much. Damian Harris was already expected to be the lead back. Sony was kind of an afterthought, and that's why they got rid of him anyways. So Damian Harris stayed kind of around the same spot for me, maybe moved up 1 or 2 spots, but I do like Stevenson as more the handcuff for the Patriots.
I do think they both have good value though, especially if Mac Jones is the quarterback, which we still have no
Mac
idea
attack.
who this Mac and Cheese.
It's looking more likely. That's the most recent report.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into talking about our running back rankings. But before we do that, let's talk about our running back draft strategy. So do you guys have to leave your first round with a running back? Like, is that a must for you?
Almost 100% yes.
If you're like 12, then technically no, because you just get the next pick, but should. First 7 people should have a running back, I think.
Wide receiver is so deep, and I mean, like, even the top like 7 to 10 wide receivers, any one of them could almost finish wide receiver 1. So I mean, you have to solidify your RB1 in that first round.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to most likely get an RB1. Obviously, I'm at the back end. Those wide receiver ones are tempting, and I'll just take whatever running backs left on the turn back towards me. But are you guys going running back this year and waiting on round 3 to wide receiver?
I can't tell you that.
It depends.
It depends on where I am and who's
that.
available, honestly.
Yeah,
But it's hard to say, like, I'm definitely going running back.
it's a viable strategy, though.
If I get my RB1 and then the swing comes around and say, like, DeAndre Hopkins is still there, of course I'm going to take that. Top 3 receiver in the league, no doubt. I'm taking that all day, every day.
I think
you have to take him.
Yeah, I think
you
if
gotta
you're doing
take
like wide
Hopkins.
receiver, that's scary because your RB1 would be like Myles Gaskin. But or like I don't think people are doing tight end wide receiver. Like if you got Kelsey, then like D-Hop or something.
And your running
But
backs are still
wouldn't-
scary.
Yeah, it's so yeah. Running back is ideal, but yeah, it still depends on where you are.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just get into our ranks here. Let's start with the number 1 guy, Christian McCaffrey. Is he a lock at all of your number 1 spots?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, over the last 19 games for Christian McCaffrey, over the past 2 seasons, so he's only played 19 games compared to 32 compared to everybody else. He's still running back 5, which is just crazy. He missed 13 games. He's running back 5.
You want to know how many
he's ahead of
points a game
Zeke.
he was averaging last year?
It's like 30.
Like 30 or something.
30.1.
Nuts.
That's ridiculous.
Stupid,
He puts up
dude.
so much numbers. Like he's clear cut number 1 if he's fully healthy. He's just so involved in the passing game. It just takes him another level up.
I mean, clearly, even not fully healthy. I think the last game he played last year, one of the 3, like he like did something with his ribs, and he still scored a touchdown, had 30 plus in that game.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's a different beast right now. I think you have to take him 1-1 in most leagues. I wouldn't look at you that crazy if you took Dalvin Cook or like Alvin Kamara, but McCaffrey's still my 1-1.
I think I might even look too crazy if you took Dalvin for CMC.
Yeah, and you're the big Dalv guy here.
Yeah.
All right,
Just a little head turn.
You sure about that? All right, let's get into our top 5s for running backs. Q, start us off. What does your top 5 running backs look like?
CMC, obviously, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Saquon at 4, only because if he plays the full season last season, he played a full season, which was his rookie year. He finished RB1, and then Kamara at 5, maybe Zeke tied for 5. I don't know, but the only issue with Kamara is the quarterback play. Winston, I checked like 2019, 2018 his years with the Bucks, and he barely threw it to the running backs, Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones he was there too. So
Do you
they're not
blame him?
Yeah,
I mean,
do you
yeah, I was
blame
gonna
him for that?
I was kind of just like pulling teeth here, trying to find some negative, but I'm
Can't
sure
find
he'll be
anything
using
wrong with
Kamara
Kamara.
because that's his only option for like 7 weeks before Michael Thomas might come back. But he's top 5 or
Marquez
number 5.
Callaway, man. He made a name for himself this past week.
Yeah, we'll see. He could be
Yeah,
Kevin White week 1.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we
Kevin
shall
White could be
see.
Kevin White week 1.
Stop. Don't stop bringing up Kevin White. All right, D-Gods, what's your top 5 look like?
CMC, of course, number 1. Number 2, I think Q's a little asleep. I got Kamara.
Ooh,
It's just him. It's just
Yeah.
Kamara. Okay.
81 plus catches, 4 straight years.
Insane. Dalvin Cook at 3. Shout out, Matt. Number 4, Derrick Henry. 5, I have Zeke. I really like Eckler. I have him at 6. I had to throw him in there, but my top
Yeah.
5.
Yours is very similar to mine. Christian McCaffrey. I have Cook and Kamara flipped, so I got Cook at 2, Kamara at 3, Derrick Henry 4, and then Austin Eckler at 5. And I got Zeke at 6. I put Eckler at 5. I'm happy about it. You saw his he's running a contest right now or something where like if
Yeah,
you
you
draft him, he'll get you like a signed jersey or something like that.
You have to
something
win
crazy.
your week too.
And you got to win your week. He drafted himself 1-1, so he's got faith in himself.
Oh my God, he reached.
Wow.
Eckler did?
Eckler did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm taking
He
Eckler.
reached.
Eckler top 5. I'm taking him. I'm
He's
taking
balling.
him. Taking him number 5 for sure. For me.
Probably a free league.
It might be. I mean, I don't think he's that worried about money, Q.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's like $100
$25,000
Passive income.
All right, Matt, what do you got for your top 5? Finish this off here.
Along with everyone else, I got CMC 1. Then I got Dalvin 2, Kamara 3, Saquon at 4,
Okay.
and Derrick Henry at 5. And then I have Eckler right outside at 6. I mean, he could easily sneak his way into the top 5, but I have a lot of faith in my top 5 finishing as the top 5.